What is up, everybody? My name is Viola. I am the host of the Cerebreath System. Sorry, brain's all over the place. I had caffeine, and I really should not have, because I've been cutting out of my diet, and now it's back in, it's messing with my brain. Long story short. But anyway, what we do on this channel is we discuss DID, topics of DID, systems, others/alters, mental health discussions, phobias, and we do a variety of other things like vlogging and gaming. And I'm going to probably end up expanding more on what we're doing on this channel as we go along. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back for another video, welcome back. Today's topic is we're diving back into the Cerebreath System with a talk about the Amethyst Forest. I've talked about this a little bit in my previous videos. I believe I talked about it in both the Depi introduction and the Anna and Pan introductions, as well as the Cerebreath System Starlight Plaza video, because it's right outside of the doors. Alright, as always, we start with where this place is. We start with Starlight Plaza, it's here, and then we go from there. So if this is Starlight Plaza, it's right across. Now, Amethyst Forest is a vast expansion of woodlands. However, it's not really a forest that's like one you'd find in the real world. I'm not entirely sure why. It might have to do with my pagan roots and everything, but I'm not entirely sure. But the trees are made of pure amethyst stone. The leaves are... they have a leaf-like texture, but they're see-through and red like glass. They're like stained glass, basically, but they have like a leaf texture. Weird thing about that is the trees are so high that it casts a shadow instead of casting a red glow. If you go high up in the trees, though, you will get a red glow on you from the light from those things. It's very weird. The forest itself, the forest floor, is coated in fog. It is a very mysterious area. I really love this area simply for the aesthetic of it. I love how beautiful it is. And this is also where Anna, Pan, Depi, and Joy live. If you were to go in my system, which obviously nobody can, we don't believe in system hopping here. It's not a thing. It will never be a thing. I have to iterate that so often because I keep seeing posts about it, and it's very frustrating because it just does not happen. But anyway, when you're going through Amethyst Forest, you'll notice that it's kind of like a three-prong sort of area. You have one that goes this way, that way, and if you keep going forward, this direction, because we said that this is Starlight, and then you go through there, you'll notice that this direction leads into a denser patch of these trees. The other one leads to a bit of a clearing, which has a lot of sunlight. If you were to go this way, you'll end up with Whiplash Desert, which, and discussed in our previous videos, you probably don't want to go there, unless you're trying to get somewhere. And there is a part of Whiplash Desert I didn't mention. I want to save that for a different video, because it's a separate section that I just remembered a while ago. But anyway, if you take the leftmost path, it will lead to Anna, Pan, and Depi's mansion, with all the ghosts and ghouls and everything around it. It's a very decrepit looking place, and it's very spooky, but it kind of suits the three of them. And they live very happily there. There's swing sets and stuff, and there is a big garden and everything. I'm trying to think how to describe it. I guess the best description I can give is it's a little bit like the Haunted Mansion movie, if you've seen that with Eddie Murphy. It's a little bit like that house, except it's a little bit more run down. If you were to take the opposite path, which is the one with the sunlight, you'll end up in Joy's cottage in a clearing. I'll talk about Joy more when, I get to her video. I'm still discovering things about her. We recently discovered she may be a fragment, which is very complicated, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Even though I did a video on it, my brain doesn't work too good sometimes. But Joy's Clearing is a moderate-sized place with a lot of green grass. She literally lives in the house from Hansel and Gretel. Let me put it that way. She has a gingerbread house kind of deal that she lives in. At least it looks like a gingerbread house, in my opinion. I don't know if it really is. But there's candy and stuff everywhere. There's sunlight. She likes things to be happy, perky, and just full of life. She has a garden. There's a freaking rainbow above her house. It's very happy. Like, it's very much night and day with these two. You go to Anna, Pan, and Debbie's house, it's very drab. It's very, like, it's not really, like, black and white, but I would say it's more kind of Tim Burton-esque. It's very gray. You know, like, it has color, but it's very, like, dim. It's dulled down. Let's put it that way. Whereas Joy's is more like traditional Disney. You know, where it's popping in color, and there's all these happy things around. And it's just a very nature-filled area. Now then, since I mentioned nature, I want to bring up some of the nature that is in this forest, because my system, my inner world, has strange animals, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. It's weird, and I know everyone's system's different, everyone's gonna have different things. My system happens to have very strange things in it. And we'll get more into that with another system video I'm going to do somewhere down the line. You'll see just how crazy this place gets, this continent we live on. But in this forest, there are crystalline animals. There's, oh man, I can't remember the exact gems, but there are crystalline squirrels, wolves, bears, deer. Like, it's really crazy. But if you go to Joy's area, they're normal animals. It's very strange how there's kind of a disconnect and kind of a shift. And I'm wondering why that is. I don't really know. Maybe it's just like, that's like their safe haven. And considering how big Amethyst Forest is, we actually aren't sure how large it is necessarily. We know it expands to maybe about a few miles away from Mermaid Beach's coastlines. But beyond that, we're not entirely sure how far it goes, because it's very hard to measure it because you get lost. I believe that someone in my system, I'm trying to remember who. Oh man, who was it? It might have been Anna Pan. Somebody called it the Lost Woods. Basically, the Lost Woods, you know, in a way, is a good name because you can easily get turned around, and because it's foggy and because there's so many trees that look all the same, and it's very hard to pick out a marker. You can't just, like, you know, break a branch off because it's solid stone. It's very easy to get lost. And you can't leave breadcrumbs or anything. Like, you can't leave stuff behind because the crystalline animals pick it up. So, honestly, like, pretty much everywhere in my system there are hidden dangers. Obviously, the crystalline animals do pose dangers. If you invoke them, most of the time they keep themselves. But, you know, if you don't want to get lost in there, that's why I think the advice I usually get the most when I'm not out, you know, I'm not fronting as the host, is if you go in there, stick to the path. You know, and I think that's actually pretty solid advice, because that place is nuts. Like, there's a lot of just strange things and a lot of weird sounds. It is... I'd like to compare it to Silent Hill with some of the sounds I hear. I've been through it at least twice, and every time I keep feeling like I'm being watched, and it is scary. But it is a very beautiful forest. You don't want to go through there at night, but obviously it is a beautiful place during the day. Good for a quick nature hike, good for a quick visit. And I want to emphasize again, when I say, like, you want to do this, it's not because you can actually go there. You know, I like to think that I'm your tour guide. Like, kind of guiding you through my system and explaining, hey, go this way with me, let's go this way, stick to the path, don't leave the group. You know, it's kind of like that. Just imagine me as your tour guide who led you through some kind of weird portal and now you're in my system kind of deal. Like, obviously you're not really, but that's kind of what this series is. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. I'm sorry it was a little bit of a weird one, but there's going to be a lot of weirder stuff that I'm going to talk about later as well, because my system is large, it is very strange, there's a lot of things I don't know how to explain yet. Like, I've been trying to figure it out, and it's very difficult. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by. I always do. If you like what I do here, like, comment, subscribe, all that good kind of stuff. Especially when it comes to this algorithm, it is a mess. I need all the help I can get. And remember, you're beautiful, you're valid, and you're important. That is very, very, very important to me and everyone up here. And until the next time I make a video, goodbye.